Today we're checking out the Vox Silk Drive. It's one of my favorite guitar pedals of all time. It's powered by Korg's new tube technology, so there actually is a tiny little low wattage tube inside there. This pedal is able to operate in 3 ways, and in a second I'll share with you some thoughts I had on the settings, some suggested settings, what all the knobs do, how they function, and how to really get the best sound out of this pedal. If you're not interested in that side of things and you just want to hear 3 unique ways to use this pedal as an overdrive, a preamp, and a full-on guitar amp simulation to go direct, feel free to skip on later in the video. I have timestamps down below. So this pedal is essentially made to try and capture the famous Dumble tone in a box, specifically the Overdrive special amps. That's the most popular one. Now, the reason I think this is one of the best pedals at doing that is that just simply the way it works. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use it as a preamp or as full-on with cab simulation, a full amp simulator. So the way I actually prefer to use these pedals, I have the Mystic Edge, which is an AC30 voice pedal from the same series from Vox. They also have the Copperhead, which is a Marshall, so that's 3 there, and then another one, which is supposed to be like a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. I'm going to have links down below, by the way, if you're interested in reading a little bit more about that. Shout out to Zounds for sponsoring this video and making stuff like this possible. So the reason I really like this pedal design and trying to capture the sound of an amp in this format is the way that I like to use it. I like to use it as a preamp heading in to a tube amp's effects return. So this gets the kind of the best of both worlds, right? We have a live cab in the room with a tube power amp section, and then we're using the tube preamp from the Vox Silk Drive or the Mystic Edge or whatever. And so you're really just getting solely the color of that guitar amp that you're seeking out. It's a really great tool if maybe you have like a tweed style amp, like pretty much everyone has or has played through at some point a Blues Deluxe, right? What if you don't like the tweed preamp sound and you want something way more modern, like the Copperhead? You want to get like a Marshall sound out of it. Then you can still use your Blues Deluxe, but just have this thing on your pedal board to change that character a little bit when you need it. You can see why this is pretty important when you're trying to capture the sound of a guitar amp that you don't actually own, or a guitar amp even in that style that you don't own, right? We're ignoring the preamp in the amplifier that you're actually using. Where this pedal would excel over a normal overdrive pedal that tries to capture the Dumble sound is that with a normal overdrive pedal, you still have to use the preamp of the guitar amp. Some people say that you can plug into the effects return. I think it really depends on the pedal. Sometimes a solid state like just an overdrive pedal is not going to work. It's not going to have enough output to really drive into the power amp section. You run into issues like that. I just think that this is a really great design. It'll run at line level, so you're not experiencing any signal drop or having to turn up the noise floor at all. Anyway, it's a great sounding pedal. I've talked enough about it. Let's just listen to it. All right, so I'm just going to go over the controls briefly since I know you can't see some of it. The pedal is built permanently into my recording console right here, so forgive me for that. Anyway, so we've got bass, middle, and treble. I'll show you what they do, what they sound like in a second. We've got a master volume over here on the left that you can't really see. Then we have a gain parameter here that has huge range from about here to there. It really doesn't do much. And then here, there's just a whole range of color. Finally, in this last like 10-15%, it gets raging crazy. Then we have a toggle switch up top here that goes between just the stock sound when it's down, and then push it up, you get a top boost. Finally, in the back, the switch that you definitely can't see. We have it operating right now just in standard overdrive mode. Flip it, goes to preamp. Flip it again, goes to cab sim mode. So for this part of the demo, we're just doing direct into the amp, just right into the front end of that quilter being recorded through a mic and a preamp and everything. So yeah, let's listen to the EQ. You'll notice I have the bright switch on. I'm going to turn it off right now and just show you what the treble does on a humbucker guitar. The second half of this demo is on a Strat, so stay tuned if that's more relevant for you. It's already pretty dark, huh? So I tend to leave that pretty much all the way up on humbucker guitars. Again, that'll change when I switch to single coils. I really like the way the bright switch sounds, even on a Strat. So I'm just going to leave that on while we do the rest of the demo, and I'm going to turn down the treble just a little bit. All right, let's listen to the middle control. For a humbucker guitar, I usually go in between there and there. That's kind of just the range I like. The bass control, it is really bassy right now. I could probably dial it back. So yeah, that is the clean sound, if you're wondering. All right, I'm just gonna mess with the gain control right here, so you can hear the different ranges that it has. You'll hear this later on in the next part of the demo. A really nice way I like to use this is just going into the front end of any amp, just like I would with a normal overdrive pedal. But these pedals particularly work great just as an always-on pedal. So they kind of color the sound. It doesn't get too far away from the character of the actual amp that you're using, though it does impart some of its own character. You can dial in the EQ a little bit more, get a little bit more compression. Just sounds really natural. So this is how I would use it, maybe in front of that really clean, kind of like sterile solid state amp tone. So at this point, we're kind of getting into more standard, kick it on when you need a little bit more grit, more crunch, that kind of territory. You'll notice from here onwards, it really gets, it kicks up a ton. Hopefully that was informative, kind of give you an idea of how all the controls work and interact together. Let's get on to the next part of the demo. In this next part of the video, we're going to be listening to the Silk Drive set up in each of those three ways. So the first way, we're going to hear the Silk Drive set up just as a standard overdrive pedal being fed into the front end of that amp. It's a Quilter Tone Block 201. It's a solid state amp. This tube pedal is going to help warm it up a little bit and give it a little bit more of a natural overdrive feel. The Tone Block head is going to be powering a PRS 2x12 cabinet with Celestian gold speakers. I'm miking it for this section with a Shure SM61 running into a Neve 511 preamp. And for all the coming samples, I'm playing my custom shop Strat. For this second demo, we're going to listen to the Silk Drive setup as a preamp. So it's running straight from the Silk Drive to the effects return on the Quilter head, then powering the PRS. This time I chose to use a Warm Audio 414 copy that's running into an SSL VHD mic pre. Third way we can use this pedal is, of course, just directly in to whatever recording interface you have. You can actually go direct to a live console if that's how you want to roll without a guitar amp. It works great for this. So it has built-in cab simulation once you turn that on. And for this chain, I'm just going direct out of the Silk Drive into the direct input on my Focusrite ISA preamp. Hope this video was helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel. This channel in particular is all about guitar gear, equipment, recording equipment, all that fun stuff. Actually, a couple months ago, I did a demo of the Vox Mystic Edge, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a member of the same Valvenergy series of pedals from Vox. So a tube-powered little overdrive pedal that can sit on your rig, take a normal 9-volt power supply, but it's got a tube in it, and it's a really nice sound. That is more of a Vox AC30 voicing. Check out my demo for that if you're interested. And anyway, if you want to read more about the Silk Drive, again, there's a link down there. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.